Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. How have you been? How has the past, 2 weeks been for you? I missed you. I don't know if you missed me. One thing I was expecting you guys to ask from the last YouTube video I posted was what broke. Nobody cares about the drama that happened at the beginning. And since nobody asked, I am not telling what happened at the beginning of the video. So for me, in the past few weeks, it has been quite calm, right? I spent most of my time at home. I attended to my garden. Well, you can call it a garden, right? And I'm going to be dropping a video on that soon. I also did go to watch Superman, and I think it was quite a very good production, right? The production was really good. And I got to do one of my favorite things to do. One of the goals of my YouTube channel is to share some of the things I enjoy doing, show you, things that I have come to love to do. And one of them I did do last week. So we'll be talking about that and then delving, deeper into another aspect of it. So one of my favorite things to do is actually to go watch stage plays. Somebody recently asked me, so what do you do for fun? And I said, oh, I go to watch plays. That person was like, oh, you're not old. People should leave me. Oh. I love what I love. And, for me, it's exciting. And one of the reasons I loved it is the stories are usually really good. It's immersive. You're there. Okay, so it is theater on a lawn at Terra Culture. It's the one I go to most often. And you're at the lawn, they're acting there in front of you. Sometimes it's very interactive, right? They, try to reach out to you, suck you into the play that they are doing, and I enjoy that. And even more interesting is the conversations that happen afterwards. In the ones I've attended, the writer comes and is like, oh, so what do you think? And people are like giving their hot takes. The first one I attended was something that had to do with feminism. My God, where this lady, I don't like the way you, I don't like the way you introduce. And it was really hot, right? So I personally enjoy, going there and watching plays. Last week I went there and watched a few. Apparently, I did not know it was student exhibition. So they finished classes at after and were presenting their classwork. So it was a bit, you could see all the errors that were made, but super proud of them. I was even telling the person I went with that maybe me if I'll go to acting school and you guys will be seeing me on your screen. But I'm not sure that's for me at all. So, but I did get to see In Chem, which is a beautiful play. If you have the time, do go to Terra Culture and sit, enjoy play, enjoy seeing it acted in front of you live, and then joining the conversation. But it's even more interesting that after watching it in Chem last week, I'm in my house and I see people talking about To Kill a Monkey, right? And I decided to watch it. It was a very good film or series, right? I personally enjoyed it, and everybody has hot take on what they think about the story. And some of this I did read, some I agree with, some I think are just shooting for the stars, right? So this is me here giving one or two hot takes, but I'm not here to give hot takes on the story itself. The story is great. Might have one or two places I do not quite agree with, or I feel like could have been done better. However, I am here to mostly speak on the dynamics that I saw, because to an extent, I feel like a lot of the dynamics are very real, very happening in life, kind of real. And then there are some people that are like, oh, this can't happen. I don't think it can happen, but I do think it can happen. I have seen it happen before. So I'm going to be doing a little analysis, if you may, of a few relationships that I saw in the movie. And I'm going to be starting with the first one, yeah. And the first one is between Inspector Mo and Superintendent Babalola, right? Somebody did say that they felt that Babalola was mean to Mo. I don't think so. I know Mo. Oh, before I continue, spoiler alert. Somewhere somebody's going to be There might just be like spoiler alert somewhere. So you know, in case you haven't watched the movie, please go watch it and then come back because it's going to have spoilers in everything. All right, so I digress. If you look at the relationship between Mo and Babalola, Mo used to be probably ahead of Babalola at some point. Then she had the tragedy that happened to her. She lost her husband, her children, had a mental breakdown. These are very serious conversations, right? And then she comes back to work after 4 years. Now, she's not reinstated in her former position. She is demoted and, has to work her way ground up again. I think that excites her. However, I think she came back to work with the idea of, I used to be up there. I used to be like your trump card. I used to be really good at my job. So I expect you to treat me as such. I am not in any way surprised by the behavior of Babalola. In fact, I kind of admired it because this is somebody has an history of mental illness. Now, I studied psychology in school, right? And that tells you that I'm invested in topic of mental illness. I do not believe in stigmatization and all of that. But you cannot take the fact that, Babalola has reason to be worried about, most performance on the job coming back. So I'm not surprised she wasn't giving big cases on the go. You want to start small, see if she's better, gauge her and get to know how she has improved over time. But you can see that Mo wasn't having any of it. And I do believe that Mo crossed a lot of lines in when you talk about their relationship. She did cross a lot of lines, calling her by her name. Eno, why are you asking me that question? You used to know me. But this is a workspace. So I believe that Babalola was establishing boundaries, which I think is very important at work. With once you're working with people, there's a need to establish boundaries. There's a need for everybody to understand what their position is. That is my own take. You might have a different take, but I do believe people need to understand their positions and then work within that position. It doesn't mean you can't be friendly outside of work, but once it comes to the job itself, it is important people understand their positions so that work can flow perfectly. I do believe that Babalola did have sympathy or did have some feeling outside of work for what's her name, Mo, right? Because there are many times Mo stepped out of line and she just cautioned her, or there were so many graces that were given to her even though she kept making a lot of mistakes, and that shows that she was at least considerate of the fact that I know you've been through that's what says shit. I know you've been through shit, right? But I'm going to give you this much grace to find your step back. So in my opinion, I do not see anything that Babalala did wrong in terms of their relationship. If you have anything contradicting to that, please let me know. But yeah, that's what I think about that relationship. And very strongly believe that in a workplace there's a need to establish relationships and be considerate, but also because you are trying to get a job done, there are things you have to do. Now, the second relationship I'm going to be looking at is Ife and Ivy. Now, the movie did not in any way establish their relationship to us. In fact, I was watching a movie with someone and I do not think they realized that that was Ife's daughter till like much into the movie. I also have a friend who I was there when he was watching, and he also did not know that was Ife's daughter up until the scene with Oboz and all of that. So he thought it was she was Nosa's younger sister, and it's easy to mistake her for Nosa's younger sister where they're both light skinned, and the way he plays, they kind of look like a younger sister. So that tells me that they don't have a solid relationship, Ife and Eva, or it also tells me the movie did not do a great job in establishing any form of relationship between them. So that paints a picture as to why she would speak to her father that way. as to why she didn't feel any form of loyalty to him. She did mention at some point that, when her mother died, if he, wasn't there, something like that. And then if you go back to the beginning, you realize that she was staying with somebody. She was staying with an uncle, and the only reason she came back was because the uncle was trying to sleep with her, and then she ran away and all of that. That relationship is very dysfunctional, right? And it speaks to parents being there for their kids, being available, building relationship with their kids. I know he was poor. That's probably the reason why Eve wasn't staying with him. He can't feed himself and Nusa and also feed Eve. So as parents, we have a responsibility. Well, I say we. As parents, there's a responsibility for parents to be there for their kids, form a relationship with their kids. You can't neglect your kid for so long, then they grow, and then you come and you're expecting some form of bond. It doesn't work that way. It takes the grace of God. It takes probably your child's mentality that, oh, let me try to make this work, to get it working. It doesn't just work miraculously. So I don't know what if it was expecting from Evie, but you see that entire relationship was just dysfunctional. I'm going to court to speak about her father. Hey, I don't even know if Oboz used jazz for her. I do not think he did, to be honest. I think being Oboz was also some form of retaliation to the dad, right? She doesn't care for that relationship at all. So looking at it, it just speaks to me. It speaks to father, daughter, parents, children bond, and putting in the work. Putting in the work, being there. Sometimes some people ship their kids far away, and then when their kids come back, they're expecting some form of bond. It doesn't work that way. Really, it doesn't work that way. So it's a crazy relationship, and she comes and say, "If you're not my father, if that guy is not a proper Nigerian parent for beat you. For actually beat you well. But that's what I think about that relationship. It's crazy, but the dynamics is was very, very off for me. But then again, the movie didn't really establish anything for us when it comes to the both of them. All we know is that she's his daughter, and she gets entangled with her boss, and she disowns her father. She's a big girl. She's an adult. Rubbish decisions, but oh well. Okay, so the next relationship I want to talk about is between Ife and Nosa. This one is quite interesting, right? Because I go online and I see people hating on Nosa a lot. But for really good reasons. Because even me, I am hating on Nosa for many reasons, right? So, first off, there's a point she comes and she says, I loved you more when you were poor. That's a lie. That's a very, very big lie, right? She did love him when he was poor, but she wasn't happy. And we know that sometimes you might love somebody, but if you're in an environment where you're not happy with your situation with them, the love will be quite shaky, right? Things will not just be as sweet as they're supposed to be. But that I loved you more when you were poor. I don't know about that. That line was just really, really funny to me. But you see Nosa's journey in the entire film or series, and you have every reason to be vexed at her. Now, number one reason why that dynamics is crazy to me, or one thing I do not understand, I really wanted to know why Nosa picked up drinking. The only time they showed us Nosa taking alcohol was when she had recently had her kids and she drank alcohol while breastfeeding, but it was just like a sip, nothing serious. Fast forward 4 years, and Nosa is addicted to alcohol. It makes me wonder what happened in the space of 4 years, because you don't go from just a sip to being addicted to alcohol for no goddamn reason. And I think that's one of the lapses of the movie, to be honest. I feel like they could have explained that to us, tell us why she got addicted to alcohol. But if I was to take a guess, I would say it had something to do with her relationship with Ife. something must have gone wrong somewhere. Something must have gone wrong somewhere for her to have gotten addicted. Now, I'm not saying if it was at fault. I'm just saying something must have gone wrong somewhere in their relationship, in their marriage, and in the entire situation for her to seek comfort in alcohol, right? Because it kind of seemed comforting. It seemed like something that gave her comfort in the movie. Uh, so you see Efe and Nusa's dynamic. I think if they were stronger together, they might have fought off this whole situation that was going on in the entire movie. They could have made a good team. Now, Nosa's problem for me is the fact that she disassociates herself from the entire business. When your husband started this work, you were fully aware. You know that what he was doing, or you knew what he was doing, was somewhat illegal. He's doing something somewhat illegal to get the money. You confront him, you're like, babe, this thing you're doing. And he's like, babe, I have to do this work. I have to do it. And you're like, okay, no problem. The money start coming in. You're enjoying it. Problem comes in, and rather than, stick with him and say, oh, okay, there's a problem. How do we fix it? What do we do? How do we move from here? She started fighting him. It's your fault. It's your fault. You started this business. But you were, at that point, I could not understand it. You are very much aware of what he was doing, right? And then you've been enjoying the proceeds for the past 4 years. If you're going to support your man, support him. You guys are doing bad, do the bad together. Be there for him. Her turning around and say it's your fault, you did it, you said not to happen, and now they're attacking us. Your husband is doing something bad, and then something bad is happening. What happened to being there, right? So that dynamics was just, I don't know. Nosa is that person that is there with you when it's good, and then when it's bad, she turns against you. I know a lot of people say she pushed her husband to doing what he did, but not really. She didn't push him to the legal business. It's his if his duty as an husband to provide. So if she wanted him to provide, she wasn't pushing him to do anything bad. It's her birthright, her marriage rights in a way, right? She expects your man to provide. It's just that Ife was greatly cursed, I believe. To be honest, somebody can convince me that Ife does not have his village people on lock. Those people were locked in on this case, right? And then you still see the same Nofsa that is complaining about the money and everything, even though she's spending it. You still see her, when she goes to the store and she sees her old boss flexing. She's like, how much is it? Let me pay. This is somebody that you are bashing your husband. So Nosa loved the money, but wasn't willing to be there for her husband. And the scene where her husband was seeking some loving, things are bad, but he is vulnerable and is saying, I need you. And she turns him down. That scene, I feel like that scene could have been a redemption point for them, but it wasn't. So yeah, a lot of but at the end of the day, she cashed out quite a lot. She doesn't deserve it, but well, life, it is what it is. So yeah, the next or the last one I'm going to be talking about, although there's a few other people, to be honest, but I'm basically speaking on the ones that interest me, is Efe and Obos. Now, you see this brotherly, all of you are shouting. This brotherly thing, people are drunk. I'm sorry. People are drunk. This whole Efe and Obo's relationship reminds me of why a lot of Nigerians do not deserve good things, or a lot of Nigerians cannot get good things. And sorry, there's a reason why I say that. It's because some Nigerians are people that you can be doing 100 bad to. You can have a government doing 100 bad. And then the government at some point, now you hear the news that, oh, this governor bought 100 tricycles for people in a particular community. And you see some people coming out to say, he's a good man, he's doing well, he's doing, because of that one, but you haven't eaten because of price of food is high. Your children are not able to go to school because things are bad. But because of that one good thing that he did, it's such a good governor. And that's the vibe I get from Nigerians when I see the comments that, oh, if it betrayed, a boss, or that scene where boss was like, brotherly, get behind me. And then, oh, but if it had betrayed him, and you people have a problem. And that's all I can just say, that you people really have a problem. The brotherly is a very good slang, right? But those people were not truly brothers. It's more of a business venture thing. And if it was only brotherly as long as he was providing value, money, right? What's that value? I mean, at the scene of his children's birthday, if he tried to kill, sorry, a boss tried to kill him, put a nylon on his head and tried to leave because he thought he was stealing from him. So the whole brotherly situation, it was so brother. I can't get the sentence or the word no weapon until they come. Like he was sleeping with Ife's daughter for 2 years, got her pregnant, denied the pregnancy, and then everybody is still shouting, "Oh, his brother." He's like, "You people and your brothers, you people, the way your own brothers used to relate is very strange. We need to investigate a lot of people in this country, to be very honest." So, my take on their relationship is it's very dysfunctional. There was no brotherly anything. It was business. I do like that Efe negotiated for himself at the beginning, right? I'm not taking salary. I'm not, this is what I want when we come to business together. Yes, I believe he could have also just asked for investment as well, drop money, make I do my business. But I know there are a lot of bad people, corrupt people, or people who do not get their money legally. When they see business opportunities, they like to go, like they want to take it, they want to be involved in. Most of them don't just want to drop money for you because they know, say, before they get their money, they had to do some things. Their eyes are not clear, right, in getting that money. So they don't just give money freely like that. Although I believe that if he probably, or boss probably would have made an exception in the case of Efe because he had saved his life. Maybe he should have pushed for that. But let's say he now, did a deal with your boss on that. If it was sensible, like somebody said to me, he would have flown his family out of the country. I feel like he should have done that, found a way to do the business and separate his family and his life from it, move everybody abroad. He's still running the thing, but he's doing it under G and all of that. But then again, abroad, probably they would have caught him faster. I do not know. But there were just so many things that if he did stupidly with his relationship with boss. His relationship with boss was very toxic. There was no brotherly love. I don't know what people are talking about. Boss was highly disrespectful. Ife also was somewhat, in many cases, to me, in my opinion, ungrateful. There's a way to talk to a boss sometimes. I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? They say, you just give me money. I'm the brains. I know you're the brains, but that money saves. You went to do it. You went to do a pitch, or you got an opportunity to pitch your business, and you brought out wood from your laptop. But guy, you're a cost. You're a cost. It's on many grounds, to be very honest. So I think the FA was just a boss relationship was business. It was toxic. Maybe in Ife's mind there was some level of love, and oddly, maybe in a boss's mind too there was some level of love. But may this kind of love never find you, me, and anybody that I know. Very terrible, very terrible relationship. And I think that kind of relationship be if you are in business with people, and then you see the lines are blurred, do your best to protect yourself in every case. Now, I don't want to go into the teacher thing because I feel like they should have just killed the guy. Once a boss had missed the first time, he should have tried again and then this time killed teacher. It was something after the problem. And then maybe honorary mention would be Ife and Sparkles. Side chick would be the downfall of many men. That's all I have to say about that. If it wasn't smart, a side chick he just met 5 seconds ago already knows his business, already ran his business, already helped. I'm not even surprised she messed him up at the end of the day because this is even a lady that's made it clear that she was streets. She has street sense, which is another flaw the character of Ife had is for somebody who is supposed to be a genius, he was very foolish in many instances. Very, very foolish in many instances. and did not play the game smartly. But if I'm speaking about Efe as a person, now this is Efe minus everybody and Efe as a person. I think Efe's biggest downfall was the thought that it was self-righteous. His self-righteousness to me was his biggest downfall. You're a tech genius. You've already created something beautiful that can scam people, well, beautiful in quotes, that can scam people and make money. You've already done that, right? You're already in an illegal line of business. Now things get tough. The hard decisions had to be made, but you will not make those hard decisions because, well, you fancied yourself a good man. And I think that's, for me, this is very important. I think that's one issue I have with a lot of people is that you are not truthful to yourself. If it was already, I mean, when he was in uni, he used to fake receipts and fake documents for people. It was already in a line of crime, right? If you're going to do it clean. And then when he came to making the tough decision to protect his family, protect his business, protect everything, he had cold feet. He wasn't making the right decision. He had time to, go and cheat with sparkles. And some people feel like it's a lie. A man cannot be going through that kind of issue and still have time to cheat. I have a story, right? There was this man that his kids were in the hospital. Two of his kids were in the hospital. They were not feeling fine. I do not know what was wrong with them. But somehow he was in my DM, chatting me up and asking when we can meet. And then I'm like, oh, where are your kids? They're like, oh, they're in the hospital. Where's your wife? She's in the hospital. But you had time to be chatting with me. So, when I see that story, I do believe it's possible because I've seen stuff, something like that, something similar happen, right? So, you see that narrative that is not possible, that's a lie. So, when it comes to the character of Ife, he slept with his boss to make money. You can say, oh, he did it for a good reason. The second time, okay, right? He fancies himself a really good man. I know I do criminal things, but I'm not as bad as a boss. A boss is bad, bad. A boss is hellfire bad. I can repent today and Jesus will easily forgive me bad, right? I am still a very good man. But I feel like if we could have made certain decisions that would have changed the entire game. It was supposed to be a genius, but it was actually a very, very, very foolish man. Okay, so these are some of the hot takes I have concerning certain relationships in the series. Uh, Basically, I feel like you can look at those relationships and find how to navigate them yourself. In the case of Nusa, I feel like she could have played that role Sparkles played in terms of being supportive to her man. If she had sat him down like, babe, talk to boss, let him, rectify this issue with teacher. If he has to kill him, he should just kill him. Let us forget this thing and move on as a family. I know this sounds bad. I know this sounds, but this is me. This is actually what I feel like she could have even said to him. And then, if it would go to a boss and say, guy, clear this thing, or boss will clear it and everybody will go and rest, to be honest. So there were a lot of lapses and nobody's perfect. And I can understand if his beginning story, but for a man who is supposed to be a genius, he made a lot of mistakes and all. In all, I would say the movie is interesting and you can go watch it. It's not perfect, obviously. Like I said, there are a lot of lapses, a lot of things that were not explained. But in all, it was a good movie. Go watch it. I highly recommend. And if you have any comments on these dynamics or any other dynamic in the movie or series that you'd like to talk about, please mention in the comment section. I remain your girl, your host, your baby. I'm not even sure how to be rounding up my videos. I know I do. Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. We're still working on the early parts. But love you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Leave your comments. For those of you that like to come and comment on WhatsApp, drop it on YouTube. Yeah, I know, but my DM is always open. Love you guys. Bye bye.